views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. I have to tell you that I am so looking forward to today's show and what this is all about. And for many of you, if you're thinking right now, wait a minute, what exactly is this show about? Well, I get to talk with Dr. Wendy Treynor. Why? Because I want to have all of you hear what a story of passion, purpose, what a story of healing is all about. When you step into I can heal, something changes. And if you're kind of like Wendy and me a little bit, I just want to say that, when you take two people like us and you give us a little bit of education, right? You give us a little bit of education, and believe me, I didn't think I was going to graduate high school. But when you put us into this research arena, what happens is that we become like sponges, like this sponge. And so when I'm talking today with Dr. Wendy, one of the things I love about this is that what is it about a couple of us that have had chronic illnesses, that have been experiencing workplace bullying? I'm telling you, it's a thing. And I'm telling you, it's been around for a while. So I'm talking about like 1990 for me. When we have looked at logic, rationalization, scientific research, all of the above, and it said, wait a minute. I don't know that I'm getting the whole story here. I think we got to take a little bit closer look. What is the spiritual truth, by the way? And then what is healing? What is healing? What is self-insight into that? And then how can we live our happiest life, right? How can we do this despite relationships that are ending because we're probably got a little sick thing going on there? What about the jobs that you're not able to work because why? You can't stand on your feet 24/7 like what's required today. What is it about being in a world where people take a look at us and say, you're pretty much not up to standard. As a matter of fact, some of you, if you're looking at me, you're not good enough. You're not enough. You are a loser. Well, today I'm telling you, we have got to heal. We've got to get into a place where we are looking at another paradigm in life. I can heal, revolutionary new paradigm for self-healing with my very special guest and author, Dr. Wendy Treynor. And by the way, when we're looking at this stuff, what's the question about this? How do we, and she is the author of The Giftof Cancer, Turn Your Tragedy into a Treasure. She and I today are going to talk about this, a treasure map to happiness. What does this mean? And what is required into creating your own new paradigm for joy? This is what I'm saying here today, folks. A new paradigm for joy, regardless of whether it's raining, snowing, the grass not growing, or you're going through a divorce. Dr. Wendy, it's great to have you here.
Yes, Dr. Pat, I can't thank you enough for that incredible introduction. You speak so eloquently. Keep talking.
Well, I got to tell you, there's something that happens. There's something that happens when, we go through devastation. And I'm just going to say that because, I can only imagine what it was like for you to hear the words, you have cancer. I mean, and let's talk about that. Let's go back in a point in time where having a new paradigm of I can heal wasn't in existence, right? But what is it about, what happened to you, the diagnosis, the tragedy? What was going on in your mind, as words were being spoken to you in that way?
Wow. Well, you wouldn't believe it. When the words were spoken, you had cancer, I was actually feeling happy about it because life had become so hard. And before that point, I had told 3 different people close to me that I thought I was dying. I told my husband at the time, my father, and my therapist, and no one believed me. However, I need to give my therapist some credit. He did say I should seek help immediately. However, I was so happy to be diagnosed with cancer because now I knew life didn't have to be this hard, and now there was a reason for why life had become so hard. So ironically, I was happy. I felt like I'd finally made it to the end of this marathon that I had been running.
Yeah. And, let's talk about this a little bit more because when you say, look, you felt like you were dying, you felt something inside of you. And this is only got to be, we can only talk about this, from a point of view of having the experience. People must have thought you're losing your mind.
Yes. I am astutely aware that at this time, people would avoid me like the plague. I didn't know what was going on. And now as I look back at it, I think because I was ill, even though I didn't know it for sure, I think my energy field was very dark and dense and it repelled people.
Yeah. And, this is really interesting. You and I are getting to talk because we have jumped through a few hoops. And a book that's titled The Giftof Cancer, okay? And I want to say this is a life-changing book. There's no question about it. And I love the way you have written this book, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It says, turn your tragedy into a treasure map to happiness. And what you've done is, for me, you have literally taken your experience and you've turned them into these nuggets, right? These nuggets, yes. these gold nuggets that one would find in a treasure chest, right? And
yes.
Tell me about the format of the book because you could have written a whole lot of other kind of styles and ways to go about this, but you wrote it in this way. Tell us why.
Yes, I'll absolutely be happy to. So there are two points on this question. The first is I wanted to share my story, and at the same time I knew that what I'd gone through was so dark that I didn't want to repel people. And so I wanted people to still read it and get the message that I was trying to convey, how you go through darkness to get to the light. And so I asked, you call it your higher self or the divine, I asked for help from something beyond me to work through me in the book. And it's the day I asked for that, you could call it inspiration or divine guidance, I started getting instant chapter headings for every chapter, and every chapter started having a positive lesson. That's what I wanted. I wanted a positive lesson in every ordeal that I went through. And I did it so you, as my readers, would get something positive from every experience. And as you did, I do too, you see? Because as I tell the story of my life, I'm not just telling the story of my life, I'm also experiencing that as my truth. So I'm creating happiness not just for you, but for me also, because all of us are authors of our own life story. And even though things have happened, how we interpret what has happened will determine how we feel about it. And so now we can turn our tragedy into a treasure, and I do that in every single chapter of the book.
Yeah.
So that's the first point. And the second point is that the book was actually longer, and I decided to just strip away everything to the essentials only so as not to waste more time. So, yeah, that's my reply.
I have to tell you something. I want to just tell everybody listening. When I read this book, right, a couple things came to me. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, you know, Dr. Wendy and I have something really interesting in common. I don't think she even knows that. When we come back, we're going to talk about lesson 7. And then we're going to tell, just tell you a little bit about all the lessons in here. We're going to talk about lesson 7. The mysteries will unravel themselves. Really? Yeah, watch this. The mysteries will unravel themselves. And by the way, we have got a couple of copies of the book to give away. When I come back, we're going to open up the phone lines. Got to have a copy of this book. Let's take a short break. When we come back, the mysteries will unravel themselves. Why? Well, you'll find out when we come back. We'll be right back.
I'm wide awake. I'm wide awake. I'm wide awake. Yeah, I was in the dark. I was falling hard with an open heart. I'm wide awake. How did I read the stars so well?
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Almost everyone at some time in their lives ask themselves, what am I? Most of our questions are ego-generated and simply don't address the problem of our false self. It's time to relax your ego and embody your soul. Dr. Dan Cohen, neurologist, inventor, and author, has created tools to awaken, a new way to transform from who you thought you were into what you truly are. Visit toolstoawaken.com today.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
Are you feeling broken from your relationships? Are you second-guessing yourself about friends, family, and lovers? Tune in to the hit show that's creating a buzz in the love-seeking community. Love Seeker Radio, finding love for your authentic self with renowned love coach Heather Lynn. Tired of dissatisfying relationships? Kiss them goodbye and power up your love seeker energy. Coach Heather Lynn reminds you that you can just be you, the beautiful and perfect you. Visit heatherlynncoaching.com to learn more.
The doctor is in. Tune in to the hit show, The Psychic Love Doctor, with host Deborah Lee. Deborah's life-affirming, highly perceptive reading method has taught Deborah how to zero in on specific problems with relationships, career pursuits, and current roadblocks to success and happiness. Join Deborah Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and for a special broadcast the second Thursday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@ronniedeluceonradio.com and visit mvholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
I'm wide awake, and now it's clear to me that everything you see ain't always what it seems. I'm wide awake, yeah, I was dreaming for so long. I wish I knew then what I know now.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. You know, before we get into talking with Dr. Wendy about the gift of cancer, and she and I laugh a lot, and talk about something really, really eerie in this. Before we do, can you let folks know, Wendy, the best way for people to find out more about you? How can they find about your programs? All of the above.
Absolutely. Everyone who's listening, you are invited to my website, icanheal.com. That's ICANHEAL.com, where you'll find programs and more books, consulting, videos, you name it, it's there.
Beautiful. Isn't that interesting? Because how does somebody even get that URL name?
I know. I don't know how I got it. It was for sale for $90. I thought, oh my gosh, I have to get this.
Well, let's talk about the mysteries will unravel themselves, lesson 7. And by the way, I just want folks to know that the book is just full of lessons, and each lesson has a different message in it. And, you know, these messages are meant to be little nuggets, as I like to say, of wisdom. And it doesn't matter what page I go to, it is crazy good, amazing. And so today, I went to the Mysteries Will Unravel Themselves, Lesson 7. And you start out by saying, if I could, in 2003, after years of research and through a flash of sudden insight, I discovered why people are happy, making others unhappy. I'm not even going to say anymore, but I'm going to ask you to please explain that.
I would love to explain it. And it's a 3-step explanation of why people can be happy, making others unhappy. I call it the identity shift effect. You could also call it why people become sheeple. And step 1 is if we find ourselves in a social environment where we're being asked to act in alignment with standards that betray the truth of our heart or betray our conscience, we're going to experience what I would call external conflict or the threat of social rejection. And in order to eliminate this conflict or anticipation thereof, we move into step 2, which is we make, not all of us, but many of us will go along with the group and do what they tell us to do against the call of our hearts. And for those of us who do that, as soon as we've done that, we've now exchanging external conflict for internal conflict, or what you might call humiliation for guilt, because now we've just violated our own standards of what is good, right, and true. And as anyone out there listening knows, to feel guilty about something, it's a very hideous feeling. And in order to get rid of that feeling, we enter what I call step 3, which is where we undergo an identity shift, where we adopt the toxic group standards as our own new self-standards as a way to eliminate the guilt. So now we say, hey, what I just did is not so bad. You know, everyone would do it. And now you adopt a lower set of standards, but now the sky's the limit with, you know, the evil really that you can do, because now you can do it, and you have self-acceptance for doing it, and you have social acceptance for doing it. So it's a 3-step process. It's actually scientifically, anyone who knows the psychological literature, it's a synthesis of Leon Fessinger's two theories. One was social comparison theory, and the other is dissonance theory. So it's 3 steps: threat of social rejection, self-rejection, and then identity shift, and you are now at peace. So thanks
and
to
let's
Leon.
talk about this in another way. Let's talk about this in another way, because you're absolutely right about this. In the day and age we live in, right? If we want to go back in time and talk about the mysteries will unravel themselves, what you talked about in that theory is very, very fascinating. Because if you go back to, let's say, 1990, it was, where they tested the water out as to what would happen if we downsized. And by the way, AT&T was the second, Exxon was the first company to try this. What would happen if we downsized thousands and thousands of people? What would happen? And some people on one side, Dr. Wendy, said, you know what, you cannot do that. That is something that cannot happen. People will revolt. On the other side of it, people said, no, they won't. And so it's interesting how we go through life and sort of test the water out to see what would be, shall I dare say it, morally okay, right?
Wow.
I mean, and this is really what we're talking about, because a tragedy in 1990 today it is not a tragedy. And so I'm so struck by the lessons that you put in here. But most importantly, how many times you talk about trust. Lesson 20 says, trust your body. Trust your body. And that has to do with a level of intuition that we don't talk about. Can you talk about what it really means to go from tragedy to trust?
Wow. What a deep question.
They should have warned you.
Yeah, it's all right. The first thing that's coming to mind when we're experiencing quote-unquote tragedy in our lives, the reason why we are suffering, now I'm speaking from a psycho-spiritual standpoint, is because we are identifying with a false identity. We're identifying with our self-concept, which makes up stories about, or tells ourselves stories about how we do not have what we want, and something is an obstacle from giving us what we want, and so we're sad that we don't have what we want. But the truth is, and this is the truth, and I've even proved it in my 2009 book, the truth is that we are love. All of us, when we rip off our false mask, the social identity, which comes from the social world, and we come to know ourselves as we are, which I do personally in meditation. I recommend meditation as a practice to all people, regardless of being spiritual or not. You can experience your being beyond your social role. And you at your essential nature is love. And the truth is that whatever you think you have lost, the source of your happiness, can never be lost, because you are what you seek. So the key to moving from tragedy to trust is to surrender the ego, or to surrender who you think you are to discover who you truly are, or to surrender what you think you know to discover what is to be known. There is more than your mind can possibly know or process about the truth of who you are and all that is. And so if you can surrender to a higher understanding, a higher power, just surrender to your heart, that's what I recommend, the mysteries will unravel themselves, and you'll discover your life to be a miracle, and that you are the love you seek, and that happiness cannot be lost. That is the truth in my experience. I'm happy no matter what happens, period.
I know. And, this is what I love about this. There's so many different lessons. Let me ask you this question before we go to break. I'm sure that you've been asked many, many things about the book and about your journey. Is there any one of these lessons that you resonate with today, perhaps, that you didn't necessarily think, I'm a little lukewarm on this when you wrote the book?
That's a great question. I can't think of one right now, but I have noticed that there are lessons which really speak to me more now than they did even when I wrote the book. And here's one. Here's one. Oh, gosh, can I read this one?
Yes, please, please.
Okay, and this is, I am infinity, I am ecstasy, and I am bliss. And the truth is, when you come to know yourself as you are, which is done by making the non-social your reference group for self-understanding, because those of us who are suffering, it's because we've been using the social world as our reference point for self-understanding. It's because we get our identity, our sense of who we are is based in the social world, and as a result of that, we suffer because the social world has standards by which we measure ourselves, and if we fail to measure up, our reference group, the group whose standards we use as our own, will reject us, and then we'll have low self-esteem, and then we'll be unhappy, and just like the ebbing tide goes in and out, similarly, your happiness will go up and down, and so you are kind of a slave to social opinion for your joy, which is not real joy. Real joy is unending, and the way to do it is to rip the social mask off by making the non-social your reference group through daily meditation, and then we will talk about, after we come back from break, about what that is like. It's amazing.
I know it. And for those of you tuning in, we've got a couple of copies of this great book to give away. But I got to tell you, I got hooked on a couple of these that are running in a row here. There are a couple of them that are running in a row. And I started to look at them and I thought, boy, if I did nothing else but 77, 78, and 79, wow, I would be ready to go. Oh, and by the way, we're going to top it off with a cherry. That would be lesson 80. We've got lots to share with all of you. Questions, 1-800-930-2819. When we come back, we've got a book to give away. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I thought that I've been hurt before, but no one's ever left me quite this sore. Your words cut deep.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Calling all dreamers. Are you living your dream life? Actualize your possibilities with Life Coaching Radio and your host, Deb Stetzer. If you're feeling stuck in a rut, Deb is here to help you turn your dreams into a reality. Life Coaching Radio. Dream it, live it, be it. To learn more about Deb, visit www.mylifecoach.us.
Do you want the freedom to spend more time with your loved ones? Travel the world? Live spontaneously? Get ready, because the Chip Justice Show is here. Hosts Dr. Pat Basile and Chip Justice can help you build meaningful success while embracing life. Living a life you love is the end game in this new, inspirational, and empowering show. Positive changes for a life you'll love. Tune in every month on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit PositiveChangeInstitute.co for more information.
Tune in to the Angels and Answers Psychic Radio Show with clairvoyants Artie Hoffman and Sky Siegel every Thursday for a 2-hour show, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio. Artie and Sky deliver spiritual and motivational messages with passion and a sense of humor. Call in 800-930-2819 for live and on-air readings. Visit artiehoffman.com and skyofangels.com.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Basili is helping others make their dreams come true, so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Now I need someone to breathe me back to life. Got a feeling that I'm going under, but I know that I'll make it out.
Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. For those of you out there, as I said before, let's go ahead, Benny, and give away a copy of The Gift of Cancer. Turn your tragedy into a treasure map to happiness. And this book is beyond what you might think. It is beyond the idea of cancer. It is actually a book about happiness. It is truly about a treasure map to happiness. First caller, and please, if you have a question, let Benny know. 1-800-930-2819. We'd love, love, love to hear from you. But first caller will give our first copy of the book, 1-800-930-2819. Now, Wendy, you were going to pick it up, and there was a couple things that you wanted to go for.
I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
I wanted to illustrate what it's like when your life is lived from the standpoint of a non-social reference group. The non-social could be nature or yourself, whatever is non-social. And I say, imagine when we are like a little flower on a bush. Imagine you're a little flower on a bush. It doesn't matter if people come by and smell us and say, hey, you're so nice and fragrant. No. Once the non-social is your reference group, it doesn't matter what people think of you, because you, as the flower in bloom, already have the sun shining on you. And the sun shining all on you is all that you ever wanted anyway. And so once we get our self-concept out of the way, our social mask stripped off, now we get to be a flower in the sun. We get to feel the love and joy we are. We already have the sun, and that's all we ever wanted. Plus, we realize that we don't just have the sun, but that we are the sun. And that's when I say we come to realize true happiness that is unending.
You know, one of the things that I mentioned as well is I don't know why I just zoomed in on a couple of the lessons, but, you know, every lesson has a silver lining. That's what I love. Sometimes when we use the word lesson, we're kind of like, oh, not another lesson. But these, you know, the world we live in, you have to come up with a title for something, right? So you got to call it lesson so people get it, right? But they're like these little nuggets of things. And I happened to flip open, and there are 4 of them in a row. There are 78, 77, 78, 79, and 80. And I thought, how brilliant that these are in a row, because it's almost like a little stage. 77, okay, that's the first part. Can we talk about this? 77 is called Fear is an Illusion. Let us start with that little nugget, okay?
All right. So fear is an illusion. You know, research shows that fear is an emotion we feel about something that is unknown, whether that something is in the future or unknown in the present. Therefore, fear cannot be real, because it's always about the unknown. So next time you feel afraid, you can tell yourself, fear is an illusion. It's been scientifically shown. So that's it. You know, fear doesn't even exist. It's always about the unknown.
Wow. Wow. And then you go on to say, I love this because I've had to do this. Let's talk about what this is. You go on to say, borrow faith if you have none, and you go right to the research. Research suggests that just envisioning, imagining a situation can create the same feeling as if it were real. Yeah, no kidding, right? So when we wish for an outcome, we seek not the outcome itself, but the happiness we imagine that outcome will bring us. Faith works regardless of whether the outcome hoped for happens, because in hoping for a desired outcome, the outcome that will give us pleasure, we experience pleasure right now. Let's talk about this. Borrowed faith is enormous, because I have to tell you, I did not have enough faith early on when I wasn't well. I did not have enough faith. Yeah. So what does this mean? And tell us about the idea of imagining. How did you do that for yourself?
Yes. Wow. Those are like three different questions. Let me see if I can tackle each one here. The first one is, what does this really mean? It means if you have a dream for yourself, a dream you want to accomplish, whether it's health, your own business, success in whatever way you define it, all that matters is that you have faith that that outcome will transpire, and that you work in accordance with that faith, because whether or not that outcome hoped for happens or not, you'll be giving yourself that joy, because the reason you had that dream in the first place is because it gave you joy. And so in each moment that you worked towards it and believed that it would come your way, you gave yourself the joy you were seeking. So in a way, your faith was realized. Your dream did come true, even if the specifics never happened exactly as you meant them to. So if you need another example, I can give you a second example. Would you like a second example of this?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So another example is in starting my own business. So now I have this business, Healing Consulting, where I do workshops, seminars, retreats, and work with people and one-on-one. And when I was imagining, hey, I'd love to do this, but what if I fail? That was my first fear. And then I realized, hey, it doesn't even matter if it doesn't work out, because if I believe that it can work out and I take that leap of faith and act each day, do my little part to help build my dream, then at the end of my life, even if I exit the planet early, even if I die before my dream is realized, on my deathbed, I will say, look, I lived my dream because I had the dream, because that dream gave me joy, and I lived in accordance with that dream. So every day I gave myself that joy. So in that way, my dream was realized. And that's how faith works. Faith gives you joy now. Powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful. And that really is leading me to the next one, lesson 79. Believe in yourself. You now go on to say, what you believe is real. It's real, is real, it's real. What you believe is real for you. If I believe that I am going to fail, that is a belief I have. But what belief is so important. I think we got a little bit off track with the movie The Secret. I think that people got a little bit bent out of shape because things were not coming true. But we didn't really talk about this idea of belief and the power of it, and what happens to that in an energetic level. Because here's the deal. You then go on to talk about lesson 80, your beliefs are the gateway to happiness. So please tell me the magic formula for this.
Yes. Well, I understand it scientifically because I studied emotion, and what I learned from reading the emotion literature on appraisal theory is that what we think is linked to what we feel. So we are literally creating our own experience with our thoughts, because our thoughts are translated into our feelings, which is our experience. so that is how I understand, why it's so important for us to believe in ourselves, because then we'll have good feelings for ourselves. And it's very simple. That's my answer.
Well, and let's talk about how life changes, because that's part of your journey too. I mean, we are talking about, going from this place of hearing a diagnosis, right? And then a wide range of self-exploration, and then not so self-exploration. Because you and I were talking during one of the breaks where, wait a minute, we were not short of people that were ready, willing, and able to tell us that we are losers. We were not really short of those folks, were we? And a lot of times, even if they didn't say it, they were thinking it, right? How did you deal with that? Right? They think just because they weren't saying it, right, that, we couldn't feel it. Tell us about that, because that is so
it's very
depleting.
good. Very good. So if any of our listeners, any of you, if you find yourself in a situation currently where you feel people are thinking you're a loser, ask yourself, is this person a valid source of truth? That's what I would do. Ask yourself, is this person really a valid source of truth? And if you're like me, you'll find no social group is a valid source of truth. The standards, the reason they're evaluating you as a loser is because they have their own reality, their own reference point. They have their own standards, and they're just judging you according to their standards. But there are, an infinitude of social worlds on our planet with different standards. And some groups, you're going to measure up to their standards, and other groups, you're going to fall short. So you might as well just, navigate yourself into a social world that has standards you naturally live up to, and then you can have a positive self-concept, or better yet, make the non-social your reference point, because that's the only true reference point for self-understanding, and you'll come to understand that you are whole regardless of what any social opinion is about you.
Yeah, this is what I love about this, is that you and I get to have so much fun together in this. And, what we get to create is this idea that people call happiness. But let's talk about what this means. If I'm going to invite this stuff in, Dr. Wendy, okay, I'm just saying, tell me now, if I am inviting it in, just let me know here, what do I got to let go of? Because there's an old friend of mine that says, oh, you know what? The universe likes a vacuum. And if you got so many things plugged in there, there is no room for the goodies. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we have another copy of the book we'd like to give away right now. 1-800-930-2819. Second copy of the book. Bam. There it is. We'll be right back.
Try, but I don't do too well with apologies. I hope I don't run out of time, cause someone call a referee.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show, insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a fourth-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
You got attitude? Keys to the rescue. Adjust your attitude with Keys Clear Protein Waters. So refreshing. Just a few sips of Keys will give you a whole new outlook, thanks to 22 grams of the happiest protein on earth. Tongue-tingling tasty without the guilt of naughty or nasty ingredients. If that doesn't put a smile on your face, maybe you need to drink too. Put a little woohoo in your attitude with Keys Protein Water. On Amazon or at Keys, Kees, please.com.
Tired of traditional talk? People pontificating about this or that, the left or the right. Sometimes the truth is just all lost in the noise. Tune in each week to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher on TransformationTalkRadio.com, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, as nationally known guests talk about what's important to you, your life, your concerns, and your success. Tune in and turn on to Straight Talk with Chuck Gallagher. Visit ChuckGallagher.com for more information.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Are you tired of being bloated and nauseous? Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Did you know eating unhealthy foods eventually leads to an unhealthy digestive system? Did you know eating the most healthy, nutritious food doesn't necessarily result in a healthy body? The stomach must be healthy in order to properly digest, metabolize, and utilize even the best of nutrition. Without proper digestion from the stomach through the intestinal tract, the nutritious value is not absorbed, and the improperly digested food can be more toxic to your body than helpful. You can be doing all the right things and getting all the wrong results. In fact, other organs may also be interfering with your stomach's ability to digest. Contact us today for your appointment at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. Or visit us at maryjanemack.com.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Forgiveness. I know you know that I made those mistakes maybe once or twice. And by once or twice, I mean maybe a couple of hundred times.
There we go, everybody. Welcome back. For more information about us, go to thedrpatshow.com or go to transformationtalkradio.com, and certainly Facebook, The Dr. Pat Show, Twitter, The Dr. Pat Show. And once you get there, there's places for you to connect on Transformation Talk Radio. Crust busting as well. You can go check all of that out. Dr. Wendy, would you mind giving out your website again and let people know how they can connect with you on social media? And then we're going to take care of that letting go question.
All right. Let's do that. So first, everyone, I would love you to connect with me. You can come to icanheal.com. That's my website. Or you can come to Facebook/icanheal, or Twitter handle icanheal, and I look forward to connecting with you.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier than that, does it?
No.
So let's talk about this idea. I was told a long time ago that sometimes we can have so much in our little basket of life that the laws of the universe don't know how to give us more, because we've got so much in there, it's very crowded. And that sometimes that the universe just cannot stand a vacuum. So if we clear things out, we'll get more goodies. Now, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that true? And what does clearing out mean?
Very good. It's a huge question, and I will give you a concise answer, but I'll also give you a bigger answer, and I won't go into the bigger answer. But the bigger answer is you need to let go of your ego, your social self, which is creating the stories. You need to let go of the stories. It's creating emotions you need to let go of. You need to let go of your past, because the truth is that all that exists is the present moment. Your mind or personality creates the sense of time, but the truth is the past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. We are standing on the bridge at the present moment over the river of time, and you can look upstream or downstream, but the truth is all that exists is the present moment. And so it's time to release any old emotions, any grievances, any anger, any resentments, any guilt. Resent any negative emotion, because that negative emotion is, according to my colleague, Dr. Francis Bean at UCLA, he says these negative emotions are siphoning off or localizing, blocking an otherwise joyful flow of energy expanding outwards. He says joy is energy expanding outwards. And when you hold on to the past with these negative emotions and the stories that go with them, you are cutting yourself off from joy. That expansive energy state where people have their hands up saying, I am joyful. Now you are, hunched over with shame or guilt or anger or resentment. And the way to work out those negative emotions, in my experience, has been to do yoga, meditation, walking in nature, really use the body and breath work, meditative processes to release the negative emotions. Other things you can do consciously to release the story. Byron Katie has a great process called The Work to help you unravel your story using only 4 questions, because it's just a story, because stories work over time and all we have is the present moment. So release the past, release the grudges, release the guilt, and now you can feel the love and joy you are and all that is.
Well, I love this because here we go. People say, don't live your life as a victim, but I don't know about you. When you're sitting there and you're diagnosed with something like cancer, or in my case, I was looking at a wheelchair in 2008 and really not understanding why, you get moments where you just feel like a little victim right there. You just get moments where you're ready to throw in the towel. Now, I want to just say, you don't have to quite be in that place to have the towel that you want to throw in. It doesn't really need to be, that extreme for people listening. So I don't want to put a judgment on what tragedy is defined as. You know what I'm saying, Dr. Wendy?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yes. So I'd like
can I add?
A couple of minutes left. I've got a couple of minutes left, so I'd love for you to address that for people.
Yeah, I would just love to, share my own personal experience. I remember in my cancer journey, there being a moment of awareness or awakening where I realized if I hold on to this sense of victimhood, that I am going to be angry, this anger will continue and I may not live. The anger may just eat me up. And so I chose consciously to take self-responsibility for my current state. I'm not saying everyone else, this is true for anyone else but myself. I can only speak for myself. But I chose to believe that I created my own cancer through the beliefs I'd chosen, through the actions I'd chosen, through the lack of healthy food I'd chosen, through the stressful life I'd chosen. I took responsibility for my suffering rather than blaming someone else for it. And it was that transformative moment in which I did that, where I felt the sigh of relief. I breathed the sigh of relief, and I thought, great, now that it's on me, I can fix this. And if it's true for me, maybe the same shift in attitude can help you transform your tragedy into a treasure, too.
Wow, I love it. There's so much that we talk about. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't just jump to ask you a couple of questions and end the show with this. You talk about finding love.
Aww.
What is your personal message
for
finding love?
Yes. Well, love is the secret to happiness. Getting your love flow going again is the secret to happiness. If any of us are depressed or blue or unhappy, it's because our love flow is not flowing. It's not going. And so, falling in love with a person or falling in love with yourself or falling in love with your work, all of a sudden, your love flow starts flowing again and you're happy. We're not happy if we have that flow blocked. And again, anger at others, anger at ourselves, or guilt can block that love flow. So we want to start, exploring new ways in our lives, new avenues for us to walk down, new opportunities for us to take that can bring us back into the love flow state, because that is the secret to happiness. And as you will discover in my book, I fell in love, and it was me having faith in that love that helped pull me out of a dark, deep depression into a place of miracles, magic, wonder, playfulness, joy, humor, you name it. And love can do the same for you. Love is your true nature, and love is the true nature of all that is, and love is the secret to happiness. And you are love, so you can find it.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Wendy. Thank you for all that you do. Fabulous book. Thank you for your generosity. Again, please give out your website.
Thank you. It's icanheal.com. That's icanheal.com. Can't wait to meet you. Go follow your heart, and all the happiness you seek is yours.
Wow. Dr. Wendy Treynor, everybody. The book is The Gift of Cancer. Turn your tragedy into a treasure map to happiness. And by the way, it doesn't matter what page you open to. There is a nugget here for happiness. And I'll end with this, lesson 153. Let's do it together. Celebrate your life. We'll see you next time.